right, good evening and welcome to the Pitt County Board of Commissioners meeting for February the 10th. We have a roll call, please. We're still going by our hands. All right, everybody's here. If you'll please stand for invocation. Commissioner Williams.
Let us bow for a moment. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for allowing us to get up this morning. We thank you for allowing us to lie down last night. We thank you for the warm weather that you've given us. Bless the citizen of Pitt County. Bless all of us one by one and as a family. Let us know that you are the issue of love, and for that we all should love one another. All these things I pray in your name. Amen.
All right, y'all remain standing. We're going to invite students from D.H. Conley, Kayla Shackelford, Holly Thomas, and Samantha Gill. You'll come forward, please, for our pledge.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Tony Sanders. I am a 10th grader at D.H. Conley, and I am currently the Officer of Social Media for the International Thespian Honor Society. I'm a member of the Student Government Association, and I'm a member of EPLA. And I will be passing it over to my partner, Jakayla, to say the announcements. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Jakayla Shackelford, a senior at D.H. Conley, and I am the president of ITS, International Thespians Honor Society, the senior class president, part of Student Government Association, and the secretary for charitable events of FBLA. Thank you for having me this evening. At this time, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank y'all. All right, do we have an approval of the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Public addresses to the board.
There was no one signed up to speak.
All right, we'll roll right on. Presentation.
If we could go down front, Mr. Chairman, and if James Bowen would come forward. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and those present with us and those watching by television, this is one of the favorite things I get to do each month, which is recognize our Employee of the Month. And for the month of January, we're recognizing in February because we only had one regular meeting in January, it is my honor to recognize James Bowens. James was nominated for his immense knowledge and positive leadership. His nominator said that he is an exceptional leader. He is always available to answer questions, to provide support. If he doesn't know the answer, he will find it. His positivity and strong leadership skills infuse the team with a sense of teamwork and community. His nominator said that James is patient and empathetic with the entire team and truly cares about the well-being of the people that we serve. James is the calm to the storm and a great example of an effective leader. James currently serves as a supervisor in the Adult Services Division of the Department of Social Services. And I can say when DSS had some pretty tense meetings, I observed James's behavior bring that team around and match everything that says in this nomination. So with that, we have a certificate of recognition, which reads Employee of the Month for January 2025, presented to James Bowen, Social Services, in recognition of your dedication and exemplary service to Pitt County government and the citizens we serve. Mr. Chairman, if you will present that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your service.
I think his wife is out
And you should have already
there.
had $100 direct deposited into your account.
I think his wife might want to take a picture too, Janice.
Thank you so much.
Moving right along, Mr. Jonas Hill.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, County Manager, members of the board. Tonight, we have back before you the Oak Hill East subdivision street improvements. If you'll recall, I gave you a short recap at your January meeting regarding this project. On November 7th, the North Carolina Department of Transportation accepted Scarlet Oak Drive, Turkey Oak Court, and Willow Oak Court. That project, if you'll recall, the county assisted the homeowners with making repairs to the street. That cost was $75,539, which benefited 38 property owners. So per property owner, that's $1,987. Over a 10-year period, the annual assessment will be $198.78. Here is a picture, or two pictures of the subdivision showing the work that was done. It was primarily resurfacing, as well as a map showing the streets that are now the responsibility of NCDOT to maintain. On January 13th, the board adopted a resolution declaring the preliminary assessment for this project and set a date for the public hearing tonight. The notice for public hearing was provided in the local newspaper, as well as they were mailed to the individual property owners affected on January 21st. So tonight we're here to have the public hearing, and staff is recommending that the board adopt the resolution confirming the assessment roll for Oak Hill East subdivision street improvements, and also to direct the tax collector to publish that roll, that the roll has been confirmed. So, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we will declare the public hearing open. Anybody sign up to speak?
No one has signed up to speak.
All right, we will now close the public hearing. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept this.
Got a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving right along, Mr. Sam Croom, monthly financial report.
Good evening, Chairman Smith, Commissioners, Chairman Holloman, Commissioners, Madam Manager. Tonight, I bring you the December 2024 financial report for the general, solid waste, and EMS funds. We are 6 months into the fiscal year, at this point, or 50%. For the general fund, we have collected 60.8% of anticipated revenues and spent 46.9% of budgeted expenditures. Solid waste, we have collected 71.4% and spent 51%. EMS, we have collected 69.8% and spent 52%. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If not, it's my recommendation for a motion to approve the monthly financial report as presented.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. I see we have some folks that would like to speak to us. We don't normally do this, but we are moving a little ahead of schedule. If y'all would like to come from Salvation Army, I believe y'all want to speak during public address to the board.
Mr. Chair, is this public addresses?
Yes.
May I read the statement?
Yeah, you can, please.
Pitt County welcomes all comments on matters of public concern. Each speaker will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak. A total of 30 minutes is set aside for public addresses to the board. Please state your name and address prior to speaking.
All right, I'm Lieutenant Micah Gallagher, and this is my wife, Lieutenant Jennifer Gallagher. We are the commanding officers of the Salvation Army here in Greenville, North Carolina, serving Pitt County. 2718 South Memorial is our address. And we have been in talks with some of the folks in the county, and we have heard that there is a need for a cold weather shelter, as well as in the summer months, providing a cooling station. And so we have been in talks, and we recognize that we have not only the space, but the know-how and the desire to open a cold weather shelter. And so we have sought a grant of $25,000 in order to make this happen. That would look like on nights of 36 degrees or lower, when it is beyond too cold for a human being to sleep on the streets, we would provide up to 20 cots, hot meal, blankets, pillows, et cetera, and hot showers as well. And then in the summer months, we would provide cooling stations because we know people need to stay hydrated, and so we want to be there to meet the immediate needs of our friends and neighbors here in Pitt County.
I want
Thank
to
you.
ask
Any
a
questions?
question.
Yes.
Where will this be? Now, I know you gave the address of Memorial Drive.
Yes, so we actually have a huge fellowship hall, which we currently right now on Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings, we have a mission station. We serve a hot breakfast. We have laundry facilities there as well as full showers for both men and women. We would be able to convert that space over. 20 cots is not anywhere close to filling up the entire space. This would be more of a rollout to see how much need there is, as well as getting the program off the ground. But I have personal experience as a shelter manager before I became a full-time officer in the Salvation Army. My wife also was a shelter manager. So we've got ample space, and sadly, we're just not using it to its fullest possibilities right now.
And how do we refer someone to you? That's my spot right there.
Oh, listen, they can always just call, and the way we would have it is it would be low to no barrier. So the only rules or stipulations we would have is that we won't tolerate alcohol, drugs, or weapons in or on the premises, but we're not going to stop somebody from coming in just because they may be.
And your phone number?
864.
866.
I'm going to give you my personal number, unless you would prefer the phone number to our core.
Whatever you tell me to do now, because I'll be referring.
She gonna call you.
That's
It would be the personal cell phone number.
Yep.
Because after 5 p.m., our office phones are closed down.
And so if you give me your personal, I won't
Yes.
hand it out, but I will call you.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, give it to me.
864
864
772
772
7521.
7521.
Yes.
And this is cell phone for you.
Lieutenant
Yes,
Micah.
Lieutenant.
Yes.
I can't spell Gallagher. I write
MICAH is his.
M-I-C.
And Gallagher is GALLAGHER.
Spell just like Janice's name.
Mhm.
Mr. Chairman, and for the board, there is no relation, right?
No.
But I just wanted to share with the board that this, they let me know that they were going to be present for public addresses to the board this evening, and this relates to a letter from them that you received in your weekly packet last week. The finances that they're seeking are from Pitt County government in your budget process.
Yes, ma'am.
So first of all, thank you very much for your desire to impact at a greater level. We really appreciate that. The 25,000, you had mentioned cots. What else does that go to fund, and then for what period of time do you foresee that?
So it would be, right now, we don't have any cots, blankets, or pillows, so we would need to establish all of those goods, as well as helping us with the increase in our utilities, as we're going to need to expand some of our kitchen equipment as well. And then we will be hiring a position to man that cold weather shelter. That's going to be a third shift position, but we want to make sure that we're compensating them well, because cold weather shelters can be, if you've ever been one, they can be a beast, but the need is great, and so.
And then it would also go to the ice machine too, for the cold. It would also go to, our ice machine is broken, so it would also go to fix the ice machine for the cooling station in the summer. And as far as the first year from now until February of next year, when we've had a chance to kind of see, especially now that temperatures are getting ready to drop again, that would be kind of like our measuring stick of how great this need is. We would work alongside Joy's Soup Kitchen, so that just to get the word out that, hey, if you're in the area, you can come out of the Salvation Army. They're going to make sure you stay cool. Make sure you have something on your stomach to eat and that you're hydrated. And also, again, working with the Joy Soup Kitchen and even our community crossroads to just get the word out that, hey, you might not be welcome in the shelter today, but you can go to the Salvation Army just a couple blocks down the road, and they'll provide you with a place to sleep tonight.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I am elated.
Commissioner McGaugh.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to just add that I serve on the board for the Salvation Army. I have been serving on it for about 13, 14 years. And these are two of the most outstanding, not because they are Gallagher's, but the outstanding people that have served in Pitt County, and they're doing a great service for this county, and I want to recognize you for that.
Thank you.
But we have talked about this, manager that know about this, that we talked about it through the city council, Council Lady Daniels and Council Lady Foreman has approached us in reference to having a cooling station. I think we've talked about that, and certainly because of the Salvation Army location, and it's a brand new building, and it's certainly appropriate for what we could do. I think this would be a very significant project for us to take advantage of, and it'll put us on the map of doing something that's constructive for Pitt County. So I certainly support your effort, and I would just wish you continue Godspeed in what you're doing. You're doing a great service. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say, add my thanks to you all for doing this, because I do get calls because Crossroads, people can't get into Crossroads.
Right.
So trying to find another place to refer people to is, we need this.
Right.
Thank you. Thank
It's
you.
our pleasure.
It is. really.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right.
And Mr. Chairman, this request will be included with the requests of others in your budget consideration during budget time. And it'll show as a request, and as funds allow, there'll be a recommendation, and then this board determines how much of that request to fulfill.
All right, I think you're up on the manager's report.
Thank you. I have a few items for you this evening. First are your next meeting dates, February 24th at 6 p.m. and March 10th at 6 p.m. And I'll talk about it in just a few minutes, but we will not be in this room. We will be in the Ag Center auditorium. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more on item F. Item B is to let you know that the Keep Pitt Green campaign will run from February 14th to March 17th, and you've got a graphic on your screen. You may recall that this is our annual public service campaign, Keep Pitt Green, that will run beginning Valentine's Day and will run through St. Patrick's Day. And as shown on the screen, Public Information Office's multimedia campaign will educate the public on the improper use of glyphosate products like Roundup and offer alternatives that target specific weeds and grasses without killing the vegetation to minimize soil erosion. You can learn more about it on our website and our social media channels. This is a campaign that I believe, will be your third year in a row running. Item C is an update on the Whitehurst Station water line project. And on this one, I just wanted to share a quick update to let you know that the project is progressing. Construction is expected to begin on April 1st. A pre-construction meeting with Tripp Brothers Construction is scheduled for February 11th at 10 a.m. with Greenville Utilities Commission. Jonas Hill of our planning staff will be present for that. And additionally, there will be an informational meeting for residents in that project area. And that's the Whitehurst Station area that will be served with the Greenville Utilities water line. The meeting will take place on Wednesday, February 26th at 6 p.m. in the Pitt County Agricultural Center auditorium. Representatives from Greenville Utilities Commission and Tripp Brothers Construction will be present to discuss the project and answer questions from any property owners that would like to attend. Any commissioners are welcome, but it's really an informational meeting for property owners on February 26th at 6 p.m. Item D, our Cultural Arts and Recreation Department is moving full steam ahead with many, many exciting events coming forward, and just wanted to make the board aware of two upcoming events. One is Bethel Community Day, which will take place on February 22nd, 2025 from 12 to 3. And a Youth Wellness Day at Pactola School on March 27th from 2:40 to 5:30 in the afternoon. You will see flyers and other information on social media about these events, and I couldn't be more pleased with the way Jennifer Lanier Coward is taking this new department and rolling out services to the community in an inclusive manner throughout the entire county. Item E is to make the board aware that the city of Greenville has requested a joint meeting with our Board of County Commissioners on March 11th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon at Welcome Middle School for the purpose of discussing the mega site economic development project. You may be familiar with that project. That's a development project north of the river on a tract of land that was identified by the state as a prime spot for a mega site, a mega industrial site. And because of that designation, it has the ability to draw down significant grant funds from the state for infrastructure like utilities, electric, water, sewer, and site work and land development work. And so this joint meeting, if the board is in agreement, will take place March 11th in the Media Center at Welcome Middle School. It will start at 4 o'clock with an optional bus tour of the land itself to show its proximity to residential, the buffer that is anticipated to create a significant buffer between residential and the industrial site, and then the industrial site itself. That will be followed by a series of presentations, starting with the basics of what is a megasite, how did Pitt County get selected as a megasite, what megasite dollars are available, what could this fund look like, what's our role, the city's role, economic development's role, the Department of Transportation's role, and have all of those folks in the room at the same time to be sure that both boards want to continue to move forward on this project. There really wasn't any other way we could think to provide the information to both boards in a comprehensive manner at the same time, except for to do that joint meeting. So if this board is agreeable, we'll move forward with scheduling that, and we anticipate that it would be concluded by 7 p.m.
Madam M,
Yes.
is it is the invitation extended beyond the city council and the commissioners?
It is it will be advertised as an open public meeting, and anyone is welcome to attend.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't want to get in trouble, so I asked if anyone can attend.
And the follow-up, or what you may anticipate in terms of directives from their city council's next step, would be to approve utility service to the site, a provider for utility service to the site, and then the step after that would be the county would have to rezone the property from its current agricultural designation to industrial, and then we would be able to take additional steps to draw down the funds to start to begin to put infrastructure in place. I think it will be an A to Z efficiently presented meeting so that everybody's up to speed on what this mega site is and where it may go, and then provide your thoughts and direction on next steps to be sure we're working in concert with our partners.
I have one last question.
Yes.
Is there a flyer for this, or we have to make up our own flyer?
Nope, there will be.
This will be a mega site. Okay.
Meeting, yes, and so what we wanted to do was be sure, foremost, so last week, the City of Greenville Council were presented with the idea of a joint meeting, and they voted to have that meeting. And so before we could take the next step, I needed to make sure that this board was willing to have that meeting for this purpose. And if you are, then we'll move forward with all of the public notices and can certainly have a flyer that includes an agenda to welcome folks to that meeting. All right, item F is the AV broadcast equipment project update and meeting location changes. So your February 24th and March 10th meetings will be held at the Mark Owens Auditorium in the Agricultural Center building at Government Circle. Reason being, this board previously funded, and it's now happening, a significant upgrade to our audiovisual broadcasting project in this room. That project begins tomorrow and is expected to run through the end of March. So we will not have accessibility to this room in that process. But when you return, you will have a better sound system, a better video system, a better voting system, and all of the components for broadcasting to assure compliance with rules and regulations and the best possible transparency that we can have in delivering these meetings to the public. Have no fear. The far majority of the equipment that's being installed can come with us if there's a new administration building in the future. So this is not an expenditure that will have to stay in this building. It is mobile, but we didn't want to wait for that point, given the concerns we received about audio and visual and people's ability to watch this meeting. And so it will cause a disruption for the time being, consistent with the project being funded. The next project update I'll give you will be March 10th to let you know hopefully when we'll be back in this meeting. Your other subsidiary boards that meet in this room will also find alternate locations, and all of those alternate locations will be appropriately advertised so the public will know where to find them. But I'm super excited about that. I think you are going to love your voting system built into your microwave. Microphone.
Microwave.
It's dinner time. Microphone.
I thought that was new. Something really
No, we can't warm up our snack at the same time.
Will they
Okay.
have acoustics?
Yes. Yes. And it will assist for those who need assistance hearing from here as well. They'll have a speaker right in it, right up close to you. And an ability to mute, an ability to vote, an ability to see all sorts of cool things.
Sound like we're moving on up.
I think we are. Item G is an update on the county's website refresh. So Pitt County launched phase 1 of its website redesign on January 21st. If you've not checked out Pitt County's website recently, I think you will be pleasantly surprised. It has a much nicer look, more user-friendly, fewer clicks to get from point A to information that you're seeking. This is a project that was led by the Public Information Office with improvements made to the homepage and all department landing pages. It has significantly improved our ADA accessibility score, and we've already seen a 13% improvement in search performance since it's been launched. Phase 2 of this project is a content audit of all secondary pages, so all of those links once you get past the department's homepage, and that will begin in March. It will be fully complete in April 2026, and when that happens, our 600-page site will meet the web content accessibility guidelines required by the Department of Justice. So not only will it look better and function better, it will satisfy all regulatory compliance to a greater degree than it currently does. Yeah, it's a 600-page website is the magnitude of the project.
I've already looked at it. It's
Do you like it?
kicking. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, yes, indeed.
Along those same lines, you will have seen, and you'll see a slide on this as well, you will have seen updates if you are applying for a job with Pitt County government. And this is what NeoGov looks like. Human Resources migrated to listing the county vacancies on a platform called NeoGov. It's a public sector recruitment and talent management platform, and we did this migration on January 16th. NeoGov has an interactive platform which has allowed the Public Information Office to pivot its recruitment strategy on social media channels as well. Social media engagement, meaning the number of clicks to our website, has increased by 3,000% since we have switched to NeoGov. Public Information Office also recruits in newspaper ads, and as you can see on the screen, on Pitt TV. Every job available now in Pitt County government will be listed on governmentjobs.com, www.governmentjobs.com, which is a national site exponentially increasing the talent of the folks that will have an opportunity to apply for Pitt County government positions. So we're super excited about that. Florida Hardy will say they have been very, very busy giving the increased number of applications for all of our vacant positions since we migrated over to NeoGov. The state uses NeoGov. Greenville uses NeoGov, and it is the most used platform in the state of North Carolina. So I thank you for budgeting for that in this current fiscal year, and it has now been implemented, and we are already seeing those results. Ag Center lease update is item I. And this is something I really wanted to make the board aware of and get some consensus moving forward if we could, and if it requires further discussion, we can add it to a future agenda. But as you may know, Pitt County leases almost half of the offices in the Agricultural Center building to the federal government. Included within that space lease is the USDA. Well, it is a lease with the USDA, and it includes the FSA, the Farm Service Agency. It includes rural development, although they currently all seem to work remotely. It includes NRCS, the Natural Resource Conservation Specialists that perform services similar to soil and water. And that lease expired last year, and you may recall this board approved an extension until the end of April because we were having difficulty timely negotiating the renewal on that lease, in part because the federal government had indicated to us that they really needed to shrink that footprint. And you actually heard from Reginald Spade, who's no longer with the USDA. He is no longer in that position. But he came partially in response to the board saying, where are you? When folks come to the Ag Center, we can't find you there. And what we learned is that they're working for the most part remotely. And so we were advised by the federal government that this space would need to shrink significantly and that they were working on what that footprint or configuration would look like. PJ Andrews, Assistant Manager and Soil and Water Director, had been working diligently with the USDA negotiating this lease space, and it had not gone potentially as smoothly as we would have liked. They have many specifications for the space, and then most recently, there was an order, executive order from the federal government to bring everybody back into the office. So there was some confusion about whether or not the space would need to shrink or the space would need to expand, or what was happening there. In any event, Pitt County government has significant space needs, tremendous space needs, and based on some conversation as recently as the last meeting, we've talked about not being disjointed in those space needs. And we have this building, this asset in our North Government Complex. So at this time, my thought and recommendation is that given the unmet space needs for Pitt County government, given the uncertainty at the federal level and the inability to know where we're going in what this lease looks like, and given the ample availability of private commercial space within the community, that it might not make sense to renew that lease, that we may want it to expire at the end of April and retain that for our future planning. There is no way we could build that square footage for what we would lose on that lease. The lease payment is just, I believe, somewhere under about $150,000 a year for the current footprint, and that would shrink and get smaller. There's no way we could replicate that square footage for our own needs. And as we're in the middle of this planning process for a new county administration building, it doesn't necessarily seem completely rational to me to subsidize federal government leased space for folks who are working remotely and then pay $300 to $500 a square foot to build space for our own needs. So I share that with you. I don't need a decision today. That lease will expire in April. If anyone on the board would like to see that lease not expire, you can let me know and I can bring that back to the board for further discussion on what that ought to look like, and I'd be glad to seek that direction. But wanted to give the board an update on the status of that at this time. The Ag Center has and I don't want to say the numbers wrong, about 19,000 square feet, I'm looking at Tim, yes, which is a significant amount of square footage that could be utilized potentially for any number of things. And I won't even speculate, but this board would have that additional square footage to minimize cost of the county administration building, or not necessarily minimize cost of that building, but to keep together those aspects like human services, public health, and other aspects that we want to keep on the same campus in close proximity. So sharing that thought for this board to think about some more. Please feel free to provide me your feedback afterward, and if it needs further board discussion, let me know and we can add it on as a full agenda item. And then I had one other thing that's not on the agenda at the request of Chief Resident Superior Court Judge Marvin Blunt, just to let folks know that the Pretrial Services Committee, Advisory Committee, is meeting tomorrow from 11 to 3 in the Emergency Operations Center for a presentation from folks from the School of Government to talk about pretrial services. It is set up for the Advisory Committee, and Advisory Committee members are planning to attend. But Judge Blunt wanted me to make sure that anybody on the Board of Commissioners who's interested in sitting in or listening in on that session is welcome to attend. That's tomorrow in our Emergency Operations Center from 11 to 3. That's all that I had.
Thank you, ma'am.
Russell.
Moving, Mr. Russell Hill. You are up, sir.
Good afternoon, Chairman Holloman, Commissioners, Manager Gallagher. North Carolina General Statute 105-369A requires the tax collector to report to the Board of County Commissioners annually in February the total amount of unpaid taxes for the current fiscal year that are liens on real property. You were given an updated report with data through February 6, 2025 for Pitt County, the EMS district, and other special districts. It also includes data for the following municipalities: the town of Ayden, the town of Bethel, the town of Falkland, the town of Farmville, the city of Greenville, the town of Gramsland, and the village of Simpson. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, it's my recommendation to approve the report as presented.
We have one question.
So move, Mr.
Hold on one second.
Thanks, Russell.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just looking at the 2024 real property taxes, and in comparison, Russell, I just kind of wanted to hear from you on, am I correct in looking like 2024 looks like we've got a significant amount of unpaid property taxes in comparison with the former 4 years?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Is there a particular reason for that?
Yes, sir. Part of it is the reappraisal, increased that levy amount. And then the other portion is that we do have a significant amount. I don't know the exact number, but we have about, I think I told the manager when I met with her today, about $1.4 million that's on payment plan as well.
Okay.
Those are individuals that could not make that payment, but that we're working with them to get those paid out, and and so that will also reflect in the collection report as well, because that money usually may have been paid.
Got it.
It's not, but we are trying to work with the citizens to get those paid before the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
And all payment plans expire in May.
May, yes, ma'am.
So they'll be in well before the end of the fiscal year. If there's any enforced collection that may need to happen at the conclusion of the payment plan.
Okay.
Commissioner McLaughlin, your motion was?
No.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to items for consent.
Move to approve.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to items for decision. County manager.
Yes, your first one is, item for decision is a reappointment to the Joint Community Advisory Committee. For those who are not familiar with this committee, it's made up of volunteers appointed by the county commissioners who visit nursing homes and long-term care facilities, interact with the residents, and advocate for quality of care in the homes. The Joint Advisory Committee is recommending reappointment of Heather Cook for a 3-year term. Ms. Cook's term would begin February 10th and run through 2028. and it is recommended that you nominate Heather Cook for reappointment to that Joint Advisory Committee.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
The next one is an appointment and a reappointment to the ECU Health Medical Center Board of Trustees. And remember, this one's a little different than your other boards in that pursuant to the rules of procedure, we give it a yes or a no. We don't select the applicants. That's done through their nominating committee. And in this case, they are recommending the reappointment of Philip Gibbs for reappointment to seat 6, and the appointment of Tom Kulikowski to seat 17 on the ECU Health Medical Center Board of Trustee. Each would serve 5-year terms.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Your next one is a follow-up. You've had this one for the primary appointments before, but now we're looking for an appointment to the Greenville Planning and Zoning Commission. And this is recommended to appoint William R. Curie to fill the alternate vacant seat on the Greenville Planning and Zoning Commission. Should he be appointed, his term would run from February 10th, 25 to February 10th of 2028. And you may recall, we appointed the primary seats. This is the alternate for that board that was missing those 3 seats for quite some time. So it's recommended that you nominate William R. Curie for appointment to the Greenville Planning and Zoning Commission as the alternate member.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And your last one is a similar appointment, and they are also recommending that Mr. Arcuri be appointed as the, be appointed to the Greenville Board of Adjustment for a term beginning February 10th, 25 and ending in 2028.
Nomination.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioners' comments, we will start on my left.
No comment.
Keep it rolling.
No comment.
I turned it off.
I know, I understand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Certainly, all of you recognize that this is Black History Month. However, I think it should be Black History Year. But, and I do want to, some of you may notice the scarf that I'm wearing. The red signifies and represents the blood that was shed by blacks and African Americans during the building of this great country. The green represents the land which it was built. The black represent the people. Now, I also want to say during this Black History Month that we've had some noble county commissioners who fought and strived for the betterment of Pitt County. And those people is noted as a former Commissioner D.D. Garrett, a former Commissioner Randy Royal, former Commissioner Fonnie Moore. I would like to certainly pay homage to those individuals who set the stage for me to be here. And I just wanted to point that out because I think it's very significant that we recognize this. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Longhorn. Commissioner Mann?
Chairman, you appointed me to the Council on Aging as our representative. I attended their meeting last month, and they're struggling to keep the Meals on Wheels program due to some lack of increased funding from the block grant, but they are appreciative of the fact that this board did help them in this past year. So I just wanted to pass that on to the members. They're doing a great job out there.
Thank you, sir.
No
Commissioner
comment.
Mann? What?
No comment.
I didn't know if I was hearing it right. I just want to make sure. All right, we will now go into closed session. Will you read the?
Absolutely, Mr. Chair. It's been suggested that this body go into closed session under the following grounds. 1, to consult with an attorney employee or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged under General Statute 143-318-11A3, and also to prevent the disclosure of information that is not considered a public record under North Carolina General Statute 143-318-10.
Yeah, we need a motion to go into closed session, please.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? All right. Thank y'all.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to approve the closed session minutes from January 13th, 2025.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Second.
And if I can have a motion to adjourn, please. Got
Second.
a motion? Second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Good night.
Only thing you said all night.